I let my reptile brain take over and I just blindly listen sometimes and end up doing some really dumb stuff.
So I'm joined with Zeyzal after that unfortunate defeat to Team Liquid. Sorry about that game. There's nothing I hate more than watching, Team Liquid beat Shopify. That's like my least favorite team beating my favorite team, so it kind of sucks. But Zeyzal, talk to me a little bit about that game. It seemed like TL had the better scaling draft with Aurelion Soul, and it was very hard for you guys to do anything in the early to mid, even late game. It just seemed very difficult for you guys to play. So you guys pulled off, I guess, a desperation Baron. Can you talk to me about specifically that Baron call and maybe what led you guys to do that Baron call?
Yeah, so I guess the first thing I'd say is like for our comp, we had a really good first round where we, I think, killed their jungler, burned mid flash, top flash, and jungle flash. So it's like at that point the game should be pretty smooth. We just need to, even though we are kind of outscaled, we should have big points where I'm 6, as Rakan and Vi's 6, and then with Ori 6 we can kill anyone who has no flash, right? Even if they have flash, they should die. So the problem was we took that early fight, which went really bad. I think mid died, jungle died, and I got chunked out. So our winning bot matchup and our winning mid matchup suddenly are flipped to where they're quite difficult. And that kind of led to the point where we still have the alt advantage, right? We can still kill one person. So we use that to get some good positions on like random objectives, grubs. So we got the second grubs. Wasn't really useful, but then we pretty much just slowly bled out until 20 minutes where that led to the Baron. So basically they had control of our bot side and it's their fourth dragon, our first, right? So we feel that we have to either fight them at the fourth dragon, which would be hard because it's their zone now. They own bot side. So our logic is pretty much we can establish control of top and look to turn on Baron, but it was not played well to say the least by me, rest of the team. It's like, yeah, it is desperate, but it's also it will look equally as bad if we walk in their control and bot side because we're walking into an Aurelion Soul, a Rumble blind with a fairly short range comp. Our longest range champion is Orianna, right? Who is kind of outranged by Senna. So it's a little difficult for us to walk in their zone. So we kind of felt we had to pull the Baron and make them come into us and then just try to do a better 5v5 than they did.
Okay, that makes sense. It didn't look like you guys were playing to turn until very, very late, just because it seemed like you guys turned very late, and then Insanity, like on Orianna, went the opposite way where you guys were going. So it felt really disjointed, but I can guess things get really hectic at that time. It's like, oh, should we finish? Should we turn? Like, what do we do? Shopify is a very strange team. I'm a huge fan, but I feel more confident when you guys are playing the top teams than when you guys are playing someone that's closer to you. What's up with the inconsistency? Why do we see sometimes you guys just like play like yesterday where you just dominated from like minute 1 to the end of the game, and then like today where matchups don't get the way that you guys want and game becomes very difficult?
I don't know. There really is two sides to our team. Like with the results today, like first round we were like kind of feeling pressured to fight for no reason. And that's what led to Boogie and I taking that fight on Xin in our jungle when they had bot prio and mid prio. So it's like, actually we had mid prio, but it's Aurelion Soul, so we just W'd over. But it's like, there's this weird dynamic, I think, when versus top teams, we play like really, really cautious and respectful of not them, but of what our play should be. So it's like, there's this concept of like cheating timers. We don't try to cheat as much when we're against the good teams. But it seems like we have this tendency to try to like cheat things out of the mid-tier teams or the teams that we think are like equal to us, I'd say. Can't really say we're better than them because we're in the bottom placings too, but that seems to be it, but I'm not 100% sure. I think some of it's mental and some of it's like an actual reality. Maybe we play better versus them.
Okay, to follow up to that, you guys completely shifted your strategy this week. So we've seen a lot of more creative drafts in the first 3 weeks. This week, first game, first pick, Orianna. You play the same exact comp except Vi for Wukong. is that, I know they ban sign and whatnot, but just like sort of the philosophy of approaching draft, do you guys feel like maybe these tank mids or like melee mids aren't that good, or it's just that specific draft, it just wasn't viable?
Honestly, I think that both drafts were fine. Today's draft, yesterday's draft, and the tank mid drafts. They just have a different style. So part of the viability of the tank mid was that you can get really strong carry jungles, AP junglers, right? We played Talia, Lilia, and Brand, I believe, with them. And those champions are all like really, really strong at what they want to do, which is farm up, get really strong, and be a carry threat in fights. So you can play that with an AP mid, but we found that playing it with a tank was pretty good for enabling it. And it just so happens that all of those champs, aside from Talia, actually got nerfed this patch, and that's part of playing on the live patch, right? So you definitely still can play it, and there's a chance we pull it out if Sion's not banned, things like that. But we don't feel pressured to just play crazy stuff because we can't win a standard game, right? Like we just played standard against Fly and did fine, but obviously today we played standard and lost, but that doesn't mean we can't play standard at all. It just means we have to get better at playing standard. And if you're good at playing standard, then those crazy picks are even stronger when you pull them out.
Yeah, it's like you guys have it as an extra weapon, and you guys can utilize whatever weapon depending on how you guys feel, like which weapon you should use. So I guess that does make sense. You're playing with Bvoy, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, he's the first Korean AD carry you play with. You play with a lot of people in your career, but
so he's the first. No, he's not. Bang is, but I played with Bang in 2020, the full year with EG, and then he is the second, and then I also played with Dandy and GBM in 2017, but obviously they weren't my AD carry.
How has your synergy developed? I completely forgot you played with Bang. Oh my god. How has building synergy with Bvoy been?
Honestly, it's been pretty easy. He's very vocal. Like, I don't know if it's like a habit from playing in weaker regions, but he's very willing to like micromanage all of the teammates. And it's like, sometimes it's like a little annoying because I have to filter out like stuff I know is not good, but it's still fine because sometimes he has really good calls. Like, even though I was looking to do it anyway, the Vi gank yesterday where I flashed to block the Q, like both Boogie and Bvoy are just like, just flash and block the Q, just flash and block the Q. So it's like, these are actually really useful traits to have. He's very willing to guide his teammates in the direction he thinks they should be playing. But there are definitely times where I like kind of, I don't know what I'd say. I let my reptile brain take over and I just blindly listen sometimes and end up doing some really dumb stuff. So I need to learn to play with that, but that's like part of it. That's the main learning process because honestly his English is really good. There's some things that are just like random terms he doesn't know or words he uses that are different than what I would use. So like he calls Rageblade Ginsu. So if I say Rageblade, it doesn't mean anything to him. And I was saying LDR, which is pretty common, right? And then he says Dominix, and he didn't know what LDR was. So it's like stuff like that, but it's nothing big.
All right. It's very interesting that you say, I mean, a lot of Brazilians told me that, Bvoy is very vocal. But when I was watching the Pain documentary to kind of make a video about him coming into Shopify, he spoke once in like 9 episodes. Like the whole, he made it to the finals, by the way, on Pain Gaming. And he, in the entire documentary series, he spoke once and it was 2 words. And I'm pretty sure they were in Korean too. So I was like, okay, maybe he's not very vocal, but it's cool to see that he actually is vocal.
He's very vocal.
Last thing is, we're pretty worried as fans. Because you can't always play the top team. So do you have any words to the fans to like assure us, or maybe tell us to keep worrying? I don't know whatever you have to say.
I mean, I wouldn't relax yet. Obviously, it's going to be a hard journey, and the only way we make playoffs is beating other bottom teams, right? Like, sure, we have decent peaks, but we still feel pressured to improve at just winning consistently, and we're doing everything we can to keep improving. And it's not like we just beat FlyQuest and we're like, hell yeah, we're the best. We're number 1 now. will we sit here tied for last place? It's not like that. We are trying, and yeah, we appreciate any fans who are supporting us through that, and hopefully we can beat some fellow noobs next week, or in 3 weeks.
All right. Thank you so much, Zeyzal. And, I wish you guys all the best.
Thank you.
I really, really hate losing to Team Liquid. It really sucks, but it is what it is. I mean, if we won that game, if Shopify won that game, we would be tied for third. But instead, we're tied for last place. That just tells you how close things are, and it's that would have changed perception a lot, which is something I was really hoping for. Like that one win, you're like, oh my god, they're not a bottom team anymore, right? But now you're like, oh, they're one of the worst teams. They're gonna miss playoffs. Do you really think people would be saying that if we won that game? But anyways, I'm still frustrated by it. It's like over a week later, but it's fine. It's cool. Thank you guys for all of your support. Like, I don't think you guys realize how much I appreciate it and how much it's changing things. Like, I was not planning on doing what I was planning, what I did, but the fact that you guys have showed so much support, whether it's through likes, comments, subscribes, DMs, all that stuff, it really, really helps. I might have a sponsor soon. Like, I wasn't even expecting something like that to happen so soon. But the fact that I've been contacted, I don't know if I'll say yes or not, or what's going to happen. But I mean, you guys have been the sponsor for every single interview that I've done, every single thing that's on my channel. So just keep subscribing, and hopefully I can get some really cool stuff to you guys, because I have some really cool stuff planned. I don't know that I'm good enough to make it like happen, but I'm learning, and so bear with me. And I think I will make you guys very happy with the content that I have coming up. So make sure to subscribe. I've said it like 3 times, but subscribe.